I just wanted to take a few minutes to make a short video for my fellow British Jews, explaining why I think we ought to be making Aliyah at the moment. Obviously, I think every Jew has at some point asked themselves, if they had been German in the 1930s, would they have seen what was coming down the line? Would they have got out in time? Would they have been aware enough to have known what was happening around them and to have made plans accordingly? Obviously, many did. They tried to get into what was then the British Mandate of Palestine. The British actually tried to stop them. They held many of them on Cyprus. We have the luxury of Israel. It's a modern, thriving democracy. It's a beautiful country. It's an absolute miracle, and we shouldn't ignore that. We have that opportunity to go. It's an easy process. I'm currently in the middle of it myself. They're very helpful. They really do help you out with all the planning, finding a new job, finding a place to live, and so on and so forth. I think the flights are free. So I could be wrong about what I think is about to happen in the Western world, and, let's hope I am. But if I'm not, then Israel is definitely going to be the place to be. And if I am wrong, then we'll all be living in a very nice, warm Middle Eastern country, eating hummus and falafel and enjoying ourselves. So it could be a lot worse. So I'm going to take a few minutes now just to explain what I think is currently happening across the sort of broad West, the Anglosphere, obviously Europe as well, and why I think that Jews in particular should be particularly concerned. So currently there seems to be shaping up a conflict of global proportions between two main groups. On one hand, you've got the Islamists, and they have been very clear about their intentions to turn much of the West into an Islamic state. Not all Muslims, obviously. There are many living in our countries who have actually been trying to escape Islamic states and who do not want any part of that. And I feel dreadfully sorry for them. We ought to absolutely make them welcome and all the rest of it. I'm not against freedom of religion. But there are, and I think we need to face up to this fact, there are people within our societies who do want to see Sharia implemented in the West. There are many people who want that. There are also allied with them liberal factions who are more than happy to see that take place. Now in Britain, I'm going to be speaking specifically to British Jews here because I am British. I know the current state of Britain and British politics. It also applies to people across Europe, across I think America is about to have some problems with anti-Semitism thanks to the Democrats. I don't know the situation in Australia or New Zealand. If you're from there, you do. You need to have a good think about this sort of thing yourself, but I'm specifically talking to Brits here. Obviously, in Britain, we have had Jeremy Corbyn come to power in the Labour Party. There's been an absolute influx of woeful anti-Semitism, awful anti-Semitism from the left. I'm sure you're more than aware of that. It's no coincidence that Jeremy Corbyn welcomed Hamas and Hezbollah and other Islamists into the British Parliament, sat down with them, made them feel welcome. There has been an alliance forming between liberals, Western liberals, and Islamists, partly because they both share totalitarian outlooks, I guess. There's also this idea that Islam is, and it's a horribly racist idea, that Islam is a brown man's religion, and therefore in some way that negates the fact that people kill in the name of Islam. I don't understand that myself. So that is one side of the conflict that's about to take place. On the other side, we saw, what happened in Christchurch on Friday. An awful act of retributive justice, I guess he would have thought of it. But effectively, these are the two sides lining up against each other. Neither of these sides like Jews, and we need to be aware of that. We don't have any backers in the fight that's about to take place. We will be caught in the middle of it, and in this video I will show you how that works. So I firstly want to show you just a little bit about the alliance between the liberals and the Muslims. I'm sure you know that Muslims don't like Jews. If you don't know that Muslims don't like Jews and why they don't like Jews, I will put a link below to a video by a guy called David Wood. I think it's called something like Facts Every Jew Should Know About Islam. It will explain how the Quran sets out and the Hadiths hatred for Jews and teaches Muslims that they need to kill Jews. So that will be in the link below. But first I just want to show you a quick article by a guy called Brendan O'Neill. He's the editor of Spiked, and he has pointed to this alliance on the pages of Spiked today. So this is the article on Spiked. I recommend having a good look at it. I will again put the link in the in below, but it's on the Spiked /online.com. If you Google Spiked, you'll find it. So here it is, and he talks about how obviously after most Islamist atrocities, there's always this. The press are always busy telling us that we must not look at the Quran, we must not attribute it to the Quran, we must not have a look at what the imams have been saying in the mosques, because that's not representative of Islam. We should just light candles and, sing Imagine and move on with our lives, and above all, not hate. The response to Christchurch has been different. We've been told to look at everything that the killer looked at, was following, the people that he took inspiration from, or said to have taken inspiration from. I think he was joking in some cases. And it above all tells us, they are telling us to hate. So, they're busy drawing up lists of people that should be essentially silenced. And he asked the question, why is New Zealand 29 fascism, but Paris 2015 was not? Why should this rally us to action, but not Paris, Nice, Toulouse, Berlin, etc.? Why is this evidence of a new hatred we must confront, but the slaughter of 22 mostly young people in Manchester was not? The question is, as I say, I think the Liberals are acting as a front for Islamists. They seem to have entered into an unholy alliance together, and they are using the power of the media, using the power of social media to silence anybody who criticises Islam. This is very, very dangerous for Jews, because Islamists do not like Jews. I think that should go without saying, but apparently it doesn't necessarily. So that is one side of the equation. So this is 8chan. The killer in New Zealand was well versed with 8chan, with the things they talk about, with the jokes that they make, the in-jokes that they make. He used a lot of references to various memes that people on boards like 8chan and 4chan would use, a lot of in-jokes to basically kind of signal to them that he was one of them. And if you have a look at it, and it's not pretty reading, but I do suggest you do have a look at it. It's at 8ch.net, number 8. You'll see that it's absolutely awash with anti-Semitism. So, for example, in this fast threads section at the top here, that's basically just trending topics. You've got already, where is it? They keep bumping around. Christchurch shooter visited Israel in 2016. So they talk a lot about Israel's involvement, apparently, in the Christchurch shooting. I've seen theories that he was a Mossad agent who was trained by Israel to kill a Muslim, the Muslims, so that it would provoke a race war in the West, and obviously, those evil Jews would be able to take out the whole of the world in one go by making us all kill each other. Making them all kill each other. So there's things like that are sort of bumping around. This is another thread that I'm just going to click on, because the first post is indicative of the kind of mindset of these people who have been watching, with horror, the Islamic attacks in the West over the last couple of decades, and have decided to take it upon themselves, as this Christchurch shooter did, to shoot back. So here we see, just put the cat down, it says, a storm is coming. The Christchurch shooting was just the first. You can feel it, I can feel it. What are they saying? Merciless desolation to be unleashed upon the enemies of our race. I would be extremely surprised if the Christchurch attack was the only such attack that takes place. We've seen today another Islamist shooting in, I think, the Netherlands or in Holland. So the Muslims are continuing their bloody campaign, and people are now lining up to fight back. He has been, unfortunately, an inspiration. This guy here is essentially saying that the video is trying to be shut down so that people aren't inspired, and he pins the blame for shutting it down on the Jews. So again, we see that mixture of a kind of desire for retaliation and the anti-Semitism coming through, with that immediately pinpointing the Jews as being, the ones to try and, stop. I guess in this case he's saying that we're trying to stop it, but it's that sort of toxic mix. So on the one hand, you have obviously the Islamists, who clearly don't like us. You have the liberals, Corbyn being, the archetypal liberal in that respect, who clearly don't like us. And you have them lining up to face off against these 8chaners or far right or whoever you want to call them, who also really don't like us. And I think the message that we really need to get out there to the Jewish community across Europe, across America, across the West, but, for my part, certainly in Britain, is that, these two groups are about to clash big time. And we will be caught in the middle. We will be caught in the crossfire. Nobody is on our side, as always. I mean, I think the Jewish population of Britain is something like 200,000, maybe 500,000 at most. I really don't think it is, though. I think it's 200,000. There's more than 70 million people in the country, and no one has our back. But Israel is there. Israel is the modern miracle. Israel will welcome us with open arms. And I think that it's time that we start thinking about that as a serious possibility. I will just show you one last little website, which is the Jewish Agency website. So I thoroughly recommend that you go to this website. It's jewishagency.org. It's the Jewish Agency for Israel website. And click on this button, Aliyah, and find out how it's done. Now, from Britain, there's a phone number you need to call, which is around here somewhere. And you probably start your Aliyah process. You just need to call them up. It's really, really easy. They will give you a password for the internet sort of web portal for making Aliyah. They will talk you through that. It's the documents are very straightforward. It's things like passport, birth certificate, proof of Jewish status, and so on and so forth. And they will help you with that. I think I haven't quite got to this stage yet. I'm still doing all my documents, but then they will give you an interview, and then they help you find jobs, help you find somewhere to live. There's something called Ulpan, which is for those of you like me who don't speak Hebrew, you can learn to speak Hebrew. So they will fund lessons on Hebrew for you. Where is that one? It's here somewhere. But anyway, so the website's very good. It explains everything you need to know. Oh, here's Learn Hebrew. And there are benefits involved as well, both monetarily, although not massive, so don't count on living on them. But I think they do free flights, things like that. So they do help you to acclimatise, to settle in. They teach you about Israeli culture. I've only been there a couple of times myself, so I'm looking forward to that bit too. And as I say, I just think that we really need to be aware at the moment that the West is not going to be a safe place for Jews in the next, maybe decade. Because these two groups are now starting to line up against each other, because there is going to be a global battle between them. And I think that it is incumbent upon us, to be honest, to look out for ourselves. We need to be aware of the world we live in. We need to be aware of the threats to us. And we need to take action against those threats. And for many people, I think actually moving to Israel, taking advantage of that miraculous opportunity is really key. It's really important that we protect ourselves, because nobody else is going to do it for us. So I hope that this video has given you pause for thought. I hope I haven't scared you. I don't think you should be frightened. I just think that you should go to the Jewish Agency website, click those links, make that phone call, and get yourself and your family to somewhere that is safe, that is welcoming, that is a modern democracy, that is a thriving country, that is the land of our fathers. It's a beautiful nation. Embrace it, and God be with you all. Thank you very much for listening.